Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're going to be exploring a brand new set of art supplies. I recently got a whole stash of things from Ranger by Fina Wakley Media, and I'm excited to explore these new creative options and see how they play in with my all-time favorite distress products. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies we're going to be using here today, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. So today we're going to be exploring a whole new set of art supplies. Now, I have seen lots of Fina Wakley work all over Instagram and Facebook, and I gotta say, there's some pretty cool things going on. And this year is all about exploration and seeing how other arty supplies are going to play in the world of distress. So let's dive in and see what I managed to get my hands on. Now, we already saw these earlier in a previous video, the Fina Wakley Media art cards. These are great, and I think these are definitely usable with pretty much any art supply you can imagine because they are prompts and they just happen to look really cool as well. So we've got the basic cards. They're pretty nice, thick, glossy, and they've got all sorts of different prompts on them. Let's just go ahead and take a look at a few of them, and then we'll move right along because there's all sorts of cool options with this. And from what I understand, given that this says deck 1, we can expect more decks in the future, and I think that would be a lot of fun because I do love using art prompts when I get stuck in the creative process. All right, let's see what just some of the prompts are. We've got Seize, Frolic, Bounce, and Mischief. So you can see there are lots and lots of different words in here, and all the cards are a little bit different. They've got some mixed media going on here. It's pretty fun. If I had to guess, I would say that we have some acrylic ink here, and a Scribble stick, and I think this is some of the glossy spray. I'm not as familiar with these products as I am with distress, but I did some homework, so I should be able to identify things along the way. All right, so we've got the art prompt cards. Very cool, and I know I'll be using those when art block strikes. Then we have got Fina Wakley Media Scribble sticks. Now, we've looked at these briefly before when we were doing a cross comparison between the distress crayons and the Scribble sticks, as well as some other crayons in the art world. Now, as we found, these do not work anything like distress crayons. I'm just going to open these up. We're going to get a tag. We're going to do a little bit of swatching, and I'm just going to reiterate exactly how they are different. I actually think these are a lot closer to distress watercolor pencils, so I'm going to pull those in as well just for a quick comparison. But I also want to see how this works on mixed media and over craft stock. And I've got some tags off to the side so we can do a little bit of swatching as we start playing. Okay, so let's just see what is in the box here. We've got 12 different Scribble sticks. Oh, they're not going to come out of the box. It was sealed and then taped. All right, open that. Okay, so one of the things that I noticed right away is that the box doesn't make the best use of the box. We've got all this extra space of box. We could technically fit another 4 colors in here, so packaging, that's probably my one quibble with that, but they are packaged nicely. Everything is still in one piece, and we have some colors in here. So let's see what colors we have. And I'm just going to pull in a craft tag and a mixed media tag, and I'm also grabbing a distress crayon and a distress watercolor pencil. Just for the sake of comparison. Now, these are water reactive, so I'm going to be grabbing a water brush. Now, let's just go through these and see what we have. So first we've got Blushing. It's a pretty nice color. Let's see, what does it do over here? It shows up pretty decently. All right, I think I will swatch them first and then see about the water reactive properties. All right, we've got Sedona. It's a pretty bright red. Now, they go down fairly smoothly on the mixed media tag, which is nice. The one thing I have noticed in the past is that you do tend to get a lot of crumbles. These are a fairly hard crayon, so you're going to get some crumbles with that. Unlike other crayons that could be really soft and waxy, that would be more smushy than crumbly. But that's okay. Every product is a little bit different, and right now we're just going to see how we can use these. Okay, so this is cheddar. It's a nice orange. Now, again, I do not know why this is, but in the last video when we talked, my one complaint was that we didn't have much for yellow, and again, we don't get anything for yellow in this set. It goes straight from pink, red, right into orange, no yellow, and then we are in green. I know there's other sets, but missing a yellow to me is a fairly important thing for any set of art supplies to overlook. All right, this is olive. There we go. And what do we have here? Evergreen. Ocean. Ooh, I really like this color. That is very pretty. And then we have got some peacock. Now I'm leaving some space between these because I do want room to try the water feature as well. Now peacock is showing up really nice. I do like that. That looks even good on craft. This is lapis. Looks like a really nice blue, and it's a beautiful blue. Very cool. Then we have got a... This says marine. That's really hard to read. And then we have fuchsia. Eggplant. Should be a pretty good purple. Not bad. It's kind of... The eggplant kind of reminds me of Seedless Preserve. It's kind of got that tone to it. Alright, and the last color that we have is elephant. Got a solid gray. Okay. It's not bad. I'm lacking yellow, but as I said, there are other sets. I want to say there's about 6 sets of these in existence, so there are probably other sets that have beautiful yellows in them. All right, so let's see how this works when we add a bit of water to it. So it spreads pretty nicely. It's not as vibrant once you start moving that around. I guess it depends on the color. That one looks really nice. But this is kind of why we swatch. Like, every product is going to react differently, and you're not going to really know what a product can do until you start to play with it. So right now we are just in the exploratory phase. Okay, the greens are pretty nice. That's got a little ghosting going on when I start moving the pigment, but it's good to know. The blue is a lot lighter once we start moving it. Okay, and how about this one? Yeah, that one too has a little bit of ghosting, but it moves very nicely. Cool. And we got this. Oh, that's got a lot of ghosting when I start moving that pigment around. Interesting. Well, it's nice to kind of know these things, because once I know how different things react, then I can decide how to incorporate them into art, and like maybe that ghosty look might be beneficial in another situation. Okay. Not bad. And how about this one? That one moves really nicely. I like that a lot. And this one's moving pretty decently. Cool. That is interesting. There's quite a bit of difference between the different colors on how they want to move around. That's pretty neat. All right, I'm just going to check a couple of these on the craft stock. I've pretty much got a good idea of what stuff is doing now. So, yeah. I don't like it as much on craft stock, but some of these are really vibrant, so they could look great on craft stock. So I guess it just depends on what you're doing and what effects you want. Like, I would definitely not use that pink on craft stock. And that blue is, that doesn't work. But these 4 look fantastic on craft. So it's interesting. You don't know what you have until you start to play. Okay, so that's how those look on mixed media and craft stock, and these are the Scribble sticks. Now, just for comparison, so that we know how these are different and how they're going to fit into the grand scheme of things, we're going to compare this quickly to the Distress Crayon and the watercolor pencil. Now, for the Distress Crayon, as we know, it is very smudgy when you put it down, creamy, dreamy, and you can move it around. The watercolor pencil goes down pretty smooth. It has some of the crumbles as well, which I'm noticing. So it's not just the Scribble sticks that have crumbles. All right, now how does it react in terms of water? Should be pretty beautiful. Yeah, as you can see, we get good play, a little bit of ghosting, but not a whole lot. It's got a pretty decent pigment payout, so that moves. And then we have the Distress watercolor pencil. Again, very fluid, moves nicely. I'm not getting anything in the way of ghosting, which is fantastic. But I do notice that this doesn't go as far as the crayon. Since it is more watercolor-ish, you're going to get that watercolor effect. So every tool has its place depending on what you want to do and how you want things to look. All right, let's go over here with the crayon on the craft stock. Again, we get a really nice smudge. It shows up great on craft stock. And this is the watercolor pencil. Just for reference, this is Wilted Violet and Prize Ribbon. And you can tell that, again, it's going to play really nicely on craft stock. It will spread, no issues whatsoever. And the Distress watercolor pencil. I'm not as big on this for craft stock because I feel that you kind of lose the color in the craft stock once it starts to spread out. So now this is interesting. As this has dried, these have become a bit more vibrant, which is pretty cool. So we can see exactly how these things are going to interact and what they're going to do, and I'm starting to see some possibilities for how we could use these. All right, so that's the Scribble sticks. Well, let's move right along and take a look at our next thing. So I also got my hands on a fair bit of paint. So we're going to pull that in. We'll take a look and then we will start swatching. We've got a lot more, the paints, so I think we're going to put that part on fast forward after I've gone through the colors that I was able to get my hands on. So I'm just quickly moving these around and then we can put things on fast forward. All right. So for colors in the Dina Wakley paint, we've got magenta, ruby, blushing, cheddar, and tangerine. Now we get a really pretty yellow. This is lemon. Now into the greens, we have got lime and evergreen, peacock and lapis, marine and night. And into purples, we've got eggplant and blackberry. I really like the blackberry. That's really pretty. We also have got sand, apricot, white, black, and I also got my hands on a few metallics. For metallics, we have got rosy, gilt, and ancient. So let's go ahead and put things on fast forward as we swatch out the paints. Here are the finished swatches for the acrylic paints by Dina Wakley Media. So they look fantastic. They're very opaque and we've got a great variety of color. I love that. Very, very good. Now the question is, how do they react when we get into some traditional techniques like marbling? We're going to take a look at how these marble, and we're going to take a look at how we're used to seeing distress marble. I don't remember if these actually are supposed to marble or not. Let me just check the bottle and see if there's any information on here. So what it does say is, Dina Wakley acrylic paint is a artist quality opaque paint. Richly pigmented, these paints feature a thick buttery consistency that will hold brushstrokes, peaks, and tool marks and can be easily smoothed. So it doesn't say anything about marbling, but it does say that this is great for texture. Now, just for comparison, let's see what our distress bottle says. So on the distress it says, use on paper, fabric, wood, metal, glass, plastic, and more. Shake well before using. Flip top open to dispense paint. Keep top closed when not in use. Clean with water while wet. Paint is waterproof when dry. Coordinate with distress palette of products and other things. Okay, so that actually doesn't tell us much what to do with this paint either. So, only one way to find out. We need to try it. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to try to pick colors that I know would be pretty similar to the distress line, and I'll do the same and try to match these with distress. All right, so I'm going to go with lapis, blackberry, and peacock, and that should coordinate to prize ribbon and not dusty concord, but this is another really good purple. Here we go. Nope, not wilted violet. There it is. Seedless preserve. I need prize ribbon next. There we go. And peacock, well, peacock feathers, of course. What else? Let's see here. There we go. So I'm going to do just a little bit of marbling, and we'll compare the results and see what these do. Okay, so I have a medium matte, and I've got the craft matte put on top of it. So we're going to start with the distress, since that's what we know the best. Now, when I'm getting ready to marble with distress, we usually just put down a few drops of paint here and there, and then we spray with water. And then we swipe and let the paint work its magic. And just like the acrylic paints, we're going to want to give these a good shake before we put it down onto the mat, just to make sure that everything's nicely incorporated. So there we go. We've got our colors, and we'll give this a good spray. I've got the distress sprayer here, and I've got a couple of tags. Now I am going to spray the tag before we swipe. So we're going to swipe, and you'll see what I mean. There is distress magic at work. There we go. Absolutely gorgeous. So I'll be back in just a moment. I'm going to let this dry off, and we'll take a closer look at what we have. So here is the tag using our traditional distress paint marbling technique. We dotted, we swiped, we sprayed, and we dried. And as you can see, we got some pretty cool movement going on here. So this is what I would expect from distress paint. Now, the Dina Wakley Media acrylic paint, it's not distress, so it's going to do different things. But I'm curious if this technique is going to work as well. If not, we already know that it's going to be a great paint just for building texture and having vibrant colors, which will be wonderful for other techniques that I've used paint for in the past. So let's find out what this paint can do. So I'm going to start with some lapis, and I'm just going to do the same formation, just a few dots. This is a lot heavier paint, so I'm not quite sure what I need proportion-wise to get the same spread as I did with the distress. This is pretty different. As you can tell, it holds its shape a lot more. The distress kind of wants to run away and start flowing the second you put it down. And you want to shake these too. There is like a mixing ball in here as far as I can tell. So, same process. All right, we've got our paint. Now we're going to do this exactly the same. I'm going to spray. All right, I already noticed it's not doing anything. It is staying exactly where I put it. The blue might be moving a little bit, but it's not going anywhere yet. And we sprayed our tag. All right, let's dip and swipe and see what we get. Oh, this is, I wonder. Okay, so it did something. It's not moving in the same way, but we do have something interesting going on here. So I am curious what is happening. All right, that is very interesting. So I'm just going to wipe this up, and while we've got the camera in regular time still, I'm going to spray a little bit more water. I'm curious what's going to happen. Is it going to move, or does this stuff just want to sit? It kind of moves, but it doesn't really. So that swipe gave us the majority of our motion. And if I want this paint to move, I have to move it myself. Okay, not a bad thing. So let's dry it off and see what we get. So here is our dried tag. And as you can see, it does not particularly care for the water. It doesn't really want to move. When we smush it, that was the best movement that we got. And when it dried, I tried adding more water to it, but it does not want to take the water. Instead, we've got something that's kind of lumpy and bumpy over here. So it does hold texture. It's just not intended for marbling, but now we know. I love the colors, and I like the way they were able to blend when we were smushing, but we just won't be able to marble. So that's the primary difference between these. These are a full body paint. You want to create texture with them. You want to layer with them. You can paint with them. They're going to hold great over other things. This is more swirly, twirly, unpredictable, and you're going to get a lot more movement and arty flow with this. But that, now we know what it is supposed to do. So that is just a brief look at paint. I'm going to come back to paint at another time in another video, and we're going to explore it more, but today is just kind of getting an overview and getting a basic feel for how some of these supplies might work. I'm definitely gonna have to do some research between now and then to learn more about techniques that are more commonly used with the Dina Wakley media products. All right, moving on. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is going to be some other forms of acrylic. These are liquid acrylics, and I've got two varieties here. We have got some bottles with droppers in them, and we also have some spray bottles. I do not know what the difference is between them. It might just be a difference of delivery method, but maybe there's something else to it. So I need to do a couple of quick checks before I can definitively say what the intention of these products are. These are quite new to me. All right. So first things first, we can at least take a look at the bottle and see what the product says about itself. That should give us a couple of clues. So I've got some Malachite and Tangelo here. Let's see what they say on the bottles. So Media Gloss Spray is an opaque acrylic spray that dries to a glossy finish. Spray into media journals, onto chipboard shapes, media board, and other porous surface. Gloss sprays are water-soluble when wet, permanent when dry. Shake well before use. Clean spray nozzle after each use. Okay, so it sounds like we can spray it and that water will move it. And when it dries, it will be permanent. Okay, sounds good so far. Let's see what these say. Media Gloss is an opaque acrylic medium that dries to a glossy finish. Okay, so far, sounds the same. Use in media journals, on chipboard shapes, media boards, and other surfaces. Glosses are water-soluble when wet, permanent when dry. Shake well before using. So these descriptions are pretty much the same, except that this is delivered by a spray and this is delivered by a dropper. So I'd have to assume that they are essentially the same product, just with a different delivery system. Now, I know that Ranger does sell sprayers, and I'm wondering if you could buy a batch of sprayers and switch them out with droppers, because then you could have both delivery systems, which could be useful depending on what you're doing. But I cannot tell for sure if they are exactly the same. We're going to know more when we start looking at the consistency and doing some swatches. So let's pull in some more papers and let's find out what we have got. So I've got some more tags, and I guess we'll go in rainbow order. And this is going to be a mixture of the sprays and the glosses. So we're just going to wing it and figure it out as we go along. So all of these say shake well. All right, so our first one is magenta. And you can tell it's not quite incorporated because we still have some milky substance down at the bottom. So we want to keep giving that a really good shake. And while I'm shaking those up, I'm going to lay my other bottles on their side so that incorporating those pigments are going to be a little bit easier. All right, that looks pretty good. Now I'll explore the spray feature later on. Right now I just want to get a feel for the color. So I'm just going to try to get some of this, and we're just going to put down a little swatch. There we go. Now I'm betting it's going to play really nicely on the craft stock as well as the mixed media because it says it is opaque. Next we have some raspberry. This is in one of the dropper bottles. All right, let's see how the dropper works. Ooh, that is a very pretty color. It feels the same, and it looks the same in terms of consistency and texture, so I am concluding that the products are the same, it's just the delivery system is slightly different. Okay, that's sealed. All right, next we have got some Tangelo. That's interesting. That is a lot of sediment in the bottom. Okay, well, let's see what Tangelo does. Ooh, very, very pretty. Very vibrant. I do like that. Okay. It's a nice color. Yep, pretty opaque. Nice. I like it so far. And now we have some mustard. Giving that a really good shake as well. And this is one of the droppers, so let's see here. Pretty vibrant. Ooh, this stuff does have a bit of a smell, so if you're sensitive to smell, just fair warning, it's kind of metallic-y and I don't know, something else. Maybe a little eggy. So if you're sensitive to smell, maybe this one isn't the best one for you. But well, let's go ahead and see how the rest of these look. Next we have some tubular. This is a neon. Looks pretty. And again, it's coming in a dropper. So all right, let's see how we're doing. Okay, a little bit more here, and we'll put some over here. I'll be curious if that shows up as well on the craft stock. Now, this definitely has a little bit of a different consistency. It's a little bit more milky and a little thinner than the others. That might just be because it is a neon, but I'm not sure yet. Next up, we've got some malachite. I like this color. It's reminding me of peacock feathers. Okay, scribbling that down. Very vibrant. Looks good. I like it. And then we have some sapphire. This is a very pretty blue. Okay, ooh, that's got chipped sapphire vibes. That is good. And I'm noticing that it's drying relatively fast. It doesn't seem to take too long, which is nice. Next we have some iris. It's a very pretty purple. Now, I have to say, this does not have anything remotely equivalent in the Distress line. This product is very unique. It's a glossy acrylic finish, and we have nothing else that I have played with that has these qualities. So this could be very interesting to incorporate into our regular set of supplies, because a gloss effect in some places could be really, really nice. All right, our last color is black. So I'm hoping for a nice shiny black. All right. Yep, that looks pretty black and glossy to me. Okay, so I'm just going to give these a chance to dry, and then we're going to come back and take a closer look. Next, we're going to take a look and see how these play as sprays. So I have got a small box setup that we're going to be using to keep the mess off the media mat. And I'm going to be putting down some scrap paper to also help contain the mess. Okay, so I'm going to place the tag down, and we're going to change the camera angle just a little bit so we can see what's going on. All right, I have no idea how this is going to work, so I think I'm going to spray first and then try to move it around with a little bit of water. And I think we're going to go with the magenta and the black. That should be a pretty extreme combo, and I'm curious what that's going to get us. All right, so let's do the craft stock with 0 water at the start, and then the mixed media I'm going to spritz the tag first and then see what happens. All right, I think I'll start with the black. Okay, so we can do a slow squeeze or a fast squeeze, and it seems to spray pretty nicely. And I am wiping off the nozzle because this is acrylic based, so I'm definitely worried that we could get some clogging. All right, now for the magenta. Interesting. It's still wet enough that it's moving the black around. And I'm definitely getting some substantial paper curling going on. I'll do some slow squeeze with the black. Whew, that really wants to curl up. Okay, so we're going to try to put that down just a little bit. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of water, and we're going to see what that does, if anything. Okay, it does get a little movement, but it's not, I don't know, not really what I was expecting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and dry this off, and then we'll take a closer look at what we've got, because right now all I can see is a hot mess. So here is the tag dried, and yeah, it's still kind of a hot mess. I'm kind of thinking that this is going to be one of those products where layering is going to really, really help. We've definitely got some gloss going on, which is really cool. But don't forget, this is craft stock that we're working over, so we might not be seeing these colors at their best. I want to go ahead and do another little splatter, and I'm going to use the gloss with the dropper. So this is the malachite. Just going to give that a quick shake. And I'm going to see how this works if I do like a little, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, and I might just try drizzling some water on that and see what happens. I've got no idea. Oh, if I shake it, I get drips. Okay. Interesting. Well, I can safely say this is fun to play with. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I do like that there's quite a bit of freedom to just explore. and exploring is fun when trying to create. Oh, either way, even if I have a hot mess, this is fun. All right, I'm going to dry this off and we're going to see where we end up, and I'm also just going to put a little water near the top just to see what's going to happen. Ooh, interesting. All right, back in just a little bit after we dry this off. Why not? Let's put it on fast forward. Okay, let's take a look. And here is our completed tag. I'm actually surprised. I kind of like it. It's definitely nothing like I typically would create. The colors are different, the technique is different, and the look is very different. But I think that looks pretty cool. That would be so fun to cut up for some flowers. I think that would be absolutely awesome using some of our Sizzix dies. But that's how the sprays and glosses seem to interact. Yes, they're water reactive. We got this really, really cool movement up here. We did some little curlicues with the dropper. We did some actual drops with the dropper. We sprayed with the sprays, and the water moved the inks. So I think that's pretty good. That's not bad for a first play with these. Let's take a look at some of the other things that we got in this mini haul. Oh, I also got some substrates to play on. We have got some square tags. These come in at 3 inches each. I think this would be a lot of fun. Now, I'm pretty certain these are similar to the Distress White Heavy Stock paper, so we'll be pretty familiar how to play with these. I'm thinking lots of stamping can be fun, and we can definitely accent with some of these new treasures. Then I also got some of the larger square tags. These are the 4-inch variety. Again, should be fun. I've definitely got some art journaling ideas where these would be great. And these are so cool. Oh my word, I can't wait to stamp with some of my Stampers Anonymous stamps on these. These are circle metal rimmed tags. Now, I remember ages ago, Tim had a metal tag thing through Ideology. It didn't take off, and I wish I had grabbed some when I'd had the chance. So I was like really excited to see these tags because I think these would be great opportunities for mini collages, lots of stamping, and really cool embellishments to add to art journals. So I did get a few packs and can't wait to explore with those. All right, now we just have a few more things. I didn't just get mediums, I also got some tools. We have got some stamps, and I got 2 stamps. We have got Vintage Moon Faces. This is MDR 87823. That's pretty cool. I like the moon faces, and I thought the sentiments were fun, and stamps can be used with everything, so I anticipate stamping with plenty of archival ink and coloring with distress over distressed backgrounds. These are pretty neat. So add layers, creative designs with these original cling stamp images by Dina Wakley. And they can be used over with the acrylic paints, the glosses, the mediums, and Ranger inks. Mix and match stamp designs for endless creative possibilities. Now, I can't remember what these are made out of, so I need to check. Oh, fantastic. These are indeed red rubber, so that works out. So we have the 4 large moon faces, we've got some quotes, and then we got 2 mini moon faces here. And if I were going to get more of these can easily be stored in a binder, but it's a binder that's going to have the clips at the top. So cool. Red rubber stamps, that makes me very happy. I did not realize these were going to be red rubber, so that is a nice little bonus. All right, I'm just going to slip that back in here for the time being, and let's take a look at our second stamp set. So I also got these. These are neat, and the main reason I got it was for the kitten. The kitten is absolutely adorable, but we've also got some faces here to play with, and that could be really fun as well. So this is Pocket Circles, MDR 83221. So something else to explore. And we also got some collage papers. So these are 20 we get 20 pieces that are 7.5 inches by 10 inches, and these are printed tissue paper. Now, I'm guessing these are probably very similar to the collage sheets that we see through Ideology. Let's go ahead and open the pack and see what we have, but also let's check out the designs. So we've got mushrooms, deer, birds, we've got some plants, we've got some trees, we got a whole bunch of different wildlife down here. That's neat. We got some silhouettes of foxes. Oh my word, those are so cute. I definitely want to cut those apart and like use those as focal points. We got more trees. We got some more birds and owls and squirrels and another set of trees. So let's open these up and see what the texture is like. Okay. As far as I can tell, this feels exactly like the collage sheets by Ideology, so I don't think we'll have any issues incorporating this into our arty play. I mean, come on, those mushrooms are too cool. And like, I totally want to color those in and add them to scenes. So I got one other set. Do these have titles? Huh. Is that the title? Okay. So here's the title. It was, this one with the mushrooms is The Forest, and that's MDA 85973. And the second one I got is Antiquities, which is MDA 85942. So I love these. They're so gothic and fun. Like, very, very cool. So let's see what we have for designs. We've got the really cool astrological stuff going on here. We've got some statues here. These looks like these could have been part of paintings. These look like statue pieces. That's neat. That looks like a city map. We got some more faces. Ooh, I love that. We got some really cool moon pieces here and like some angel pieces, I think. And then this is just a collage bit with like architectural and statue type elements. Very cool. I can definitely see these sliding into some creative art journaling. All right. So just two more things. And I already talked about one of them earlier. But this one is pretty new to me. Fina Wakley Media Collage Collective. 60 double-sided printed pages, 30 sheets at 120 GSM, 30 sheets, 270 GSM. Okay. So there's two different thicknesses of paper in the book. Let's find out. Okay, wow. I mean, this to me looks like a absolutely finished piece of artwork. Okay. All right. I'm curious about the... Oh, okay, I see. So the first half of the journal is thinner paper. And then the second half is really, really thick. Wow. I mean, to me, these look like finished pieces. Like, oh man, I'm going to feel bad about cutting these up. Wow. But it looks like they come out of the book really easily, so that's good. But, oh my word, like, I don't want to... Oh, this is going to be hard to cut up. I know this is fodder, but this kind of looks like an art book to me, like with a gallery of pictures and stuff. Huh. Okay, so we've got some really, really pretty pictures in here. All right, now we're getting into stuff that looks very cuttable. Yeah, can totally punch out the circles. That'd be fun. Use those as collage elements. And I guess we can just treat this as backgrounds. And like we've got a choice. Like we can use the front or the back side. So that's really, really good. Ooh, paper strips. That'll be fun. So there's all sorts of stuff going on here. And we've got elements that are definitely cuttable. And then we've got bigger stuff that we can use for backgrounds. So we're going to have lots of variety of things to play with. All right, now I just want to take a look at the other stuff. Okay, so the things in the back, they're duplicates of the pages in the front, but they're just on a heavier paper. So I'm kind of thinking that for some of these larger backgrounds, that'd be really fun to die cut tags out of these, and then I could use other elements to embellish the tags, because really these are just background papers, and I could totally cut them apart and then use them to jumpstart other things. Okay, so that's really, really neat. Ooh, that's gorgeous. I love that. And it's a really good paper, so it feels like we should be able to alter this pretty easily. Like we could go over it with crayons and stamping and collaging. So I think there's a lot of good things that we could do with this. It's just, it still feels like an art book to me. Like this is why I like ephemera packs and pre-cut pieces of paper. Like I don't feel bad about chopping that sort of stuff up. I mean, like these here are definitely works of art in and of themselves, but because of the way that they're constructed, like I'm not going to feel bad about slicing and dicing these, but like a whole page, it feels a lot more intense, more like you're committing to something really big. But I also feel like these are some really cool pieces of art that someone else has already made, and like this is original art but done by someone, whereas these are pieces of ephemera that have been collected and curated into a collection. So it's like I don't know. This is going to take a little bit of getting my mind wrapped around to cut into some of these pages. Oof. That's going to be hard. But you know what? I'm up for the challenge, and we'll get there. But this is definitely why I'm more a fan of Ideology Ephemera. It's not presented in humongous pieces where you just feel terrible about splicing and dicing. I mean, like, I know I could get another one of these books and keep one as a art reference, but still, I don't know. A little bit of an art block there, but okay. It's still cool. We're gonna have fun, and I will get over my issues. The other thing is, come on, it's a really nice cover too. It really does look like something you should put on your bookcase, but it says for collage, so we will collage at some point. All right, so this is the last thing that I got. And I'm very excited about this because I have heard lots of good things about it, and it's an art journal. I love art journals. And we'll definitely be coming back to the whole art journal idea in another video. So we're kind of doing like a little sneak peek, and you know what? We're going to also have a little play in here because we are here, and why not have a play? So this is the Dina Wakley Media Journal, and it's printed ledger journal for mixed media. So it's not just a journal, it's already got ledger in it. And like it seems like the pages are all pretty different. We got some blank pages, we got some written pages. This is awesome, and it's already got some distress going on. I love that. So this looks really, really good. And this is going to be a foundation, a Kickstarter, a way for us to get going and create. I am so looking forward to exploring with this and creating different things. It's going to be fantastic. Now I'm going to do something a little bit unusual. Typically when I start an art journal, I like to start in the front, but because I'm going to be using this journal in another video, I'm actually going to start in the back. So this would be the entire haul of Dina Media art supplies that we got today. Now we're going to dive right in, put this on fast forward, and we're just going to have a play with the journal, see where it takes us, and I'll definitely be mixing and matching in my favorite Tim Holtz products as well. So see you on the other side once we have a completed journal spread. Here is our completed mixed media journal page featuring all sorts of Dina Wakley products combined with distress. Now, the little moon charm that we did earlier has finished drying, and take a look at this. We have got some amazing shine on here with glossy accents, and we also have a dash of distress spritz. If you look very closely when I tilt this, you can actually see the distress spritz underneath the gloss, which is really cool. Now, for the moon charm, I stamped on one of the Dina Wakley metal tags, one of the circular ones, and I stamped with the moon stamp, and then I colored this in with some distress spray stain. We used a combination of seedless preserves and shaded lilac oxide. So that's cool. I thought we could make like a really nifty little bookmark holder. I added it to a jumbo paper clip and added a ribbon tassel from some organza pieces. And I'm just going to put this right here so that I can mark my place for future projects. I love that, just having a little charm dangle. I kind of want to make more of them. They are fun. But back to the mixed media page. So I'm going to start by pointing out the Dina Wakley products that we used, and then we're going to look at the distress products that we used. So we have some collage paper here. This is from the Collage sheets. We get this really cool sun piece, and I colored that on the back of the paper using the Dina Wakley paints, and that's a technique that I learned with distress, and it works beautifully with this type of collage paper as well from Ranger. Then we have some glossy droplets. This is from some of the gloss bottles from Dina Wakley. The paper that we used to die cut out the moon and stars is some of the papers from that giant collage book. Absolutely love that. And of course, the journal that we're working in is the Dina Wakley Mixed Media Ledger Journal, which, by the way, is an absolute dream to work on. I love this. It plays beautifully with all the supplies that we use today, and I love how we have this neat text in the background. We've got those really cool ledger lines. Then I also used one of the Dina Wakley tags, and we stamped on here one of the sentiments that goes with the moon stamp set. Sometimes you need to sit in the darkness to find the light. Now, on to distress. So what did we use from the Tim Holtz line? Well, we started off with a background featuring the distress spray stains. We have some ocean, salty ocean, going into prize ribbon, going into chip sapphire. That was for the background. Of course, I used the distress sprayer to get the traditional distressed look. After, we die cut with the Sizzix Big Die Moon and Stars. It's one of the older ones. Love it. Absolute favorite. And then I also embellished on the background with some distress spritz. We used some prize ribbon and some little dashes of Villainous Potion. I stamped with Distress Archival Black ink, and we used distress spray stains to alter this tag. And I also added in some ideology elements. We've got the faceted stars, and we've got the little chip pieces with the letters to spell out star. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for some arty exploration. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video, and until next time, happy crafting!